This is the reading from Luke chapter 23, verse 1 to 25. Jesus' trial before Pilate. Then the entire council took Jesus over to Pilate, the Roman governor. They began at once to state their case. This man has been leading our people to ruin by telling them not to pay their taxes to the Roman government and by claiming he is the Messiah, a king. So Pilate asked, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied,
"Yes, it is as you say."
Pilate turned to the leading priest and to the crowd and said, "I find nothing wrong with this man." Then they became desperate, but he is causing riots everywhere he goes, all over Judea, from Galilee to Jerusalem. "Oh, is he a Galilean?" Pilate asked. When they answered that he was, Pilate sent him to Herod Antipas, because Galilee was under Herod's jurisdiction, and Herod happened to be in Jerusalem at the time. Herod was delighted at the opportunity to see Jesus, because he had heard about him and had been hoping for a long time to see him perform a miracle. He asked Jesus question after question, but Jesus refused to answer. Meanwhile, the leading priests and the teachers of religious law stood there shouting their accusations. Now Herod and his soldiers began mocking and ridiculing Jesus. Then they put a royal robe on him and sent him back to Pilate. Herod and Pilate, who had been enemies before, became friends that day.
Then Pilate called together the leading priests and other religious leaders, along with the people, and he announced his verdict. "You brought me this man, accusing him of leading a revolt. I have examined him thoroughly on this point, in your presence, and find him innocent." Herod came to the same conclusion and sent him back to us. "Nothing this man has done calls for the death penalty, so I'll have him flogged, but then I will release him." Then a mighty roar rose from the crowd, and with one voice they shouted, "Kill him, and release Barabbas to us." Barabbas was imprisoned for murder and for taking part in an insurrection in Jerusalem against the government. Pilate argued with them because he wanted to release Jesus, but they shouted,
Crucify him! Crucify him!
For the third time he demanded, "Why? What crime has he committed? I have found no reason to sentence him to death. I will therefore flog him and let him go." But the crowd shouted louder and louder for Jesus' death, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate sentenced Jesus to die as they had demanded. As they had requested, he released Barabbas, the man imprisoned for insurrection and murder, but he delivered Jesus over to them to do as they wished.